So yeah, pretty amazing. So, but I thought it was funny though is that she's climbed this mountain that no one even knew was there, and yet she's always disappointed because she didn't make that movie, you know. And it's only until recently she told me that, you know, now I'm starting to realize that I actually accomplished something without really, you know, meaning to, you know, and now she can accept it. And she's getting, especially with Facebook, because now all these artists are coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh my God, you were such an inspiration to me," and stuff like that. And she's like, "Wow, okay, I guess I actually did do something." I said, "Well, I could have told you that from the first day I saw you," and I think I did. Any other questions? Yeah, yeah, Becky, you have next question. Yeah.
What's the weirdest question you ever got?
I don't know. You know, people always ask that. Nobody asks any weird questions. One of the weirdest things that ever happened to me, I was at a convention in Florida, and I'm walking by the swimming pool, and this beautiful young lady says, "Oh, you're Mace Hughes." And I went, "Yes, I am." And she flashed me. It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. And she had a friend in the water next to her, and he obviously has never seen this side of her before. And he's like this. I looked at him and I said, "Son, you owe me." Any other questions? Now I'll let you guys know that at all of my panels for coming out here, if you have anything that you want me to sign, I'll give you the last 15 or 20 minutes to sign it. So you just come up here and sign. If you want to at that time to buy a copy of my book, it's $5. And if you catch me at my table, I will draw a character of something I voice for you on it. But we got time for a few more questions. What's your question?
What's your favorite Hughes line?
"Don't fall on Daddy!" It's my favorite line from anything I've ever done. Yeah. Yeah. And your question?
Any weird experiences, like going to the convention or like about the hotel itself, not just the people?
I've had some weird experiences on airplanes. I was flying from San Diego Comic-Con to Dallas, and for some reason, the flight they put us on had a layover in Vegas. And then Vegas had this horrible storm that was going on. It was so bad that it was really slowing the landings down. And I was in first class, not because I always ride in first class, but because they had bumped me on one of my flights, so they said, "Okay, we'll give you first class." So it was kind of cool. I'm sitting in first class next to these flight attendants, and I overhear their conversation, and their conversation is, "I hope we have enough fuel." Because we keep circling the airport. We circle it for 2 hours. And I'm like, "Why am I allowed to hear this? I don't need to hear this." So I've had some, yeah, traveling is an interesting experience. Okay, maybe 2 more questions. What's your question? Yeah.
When you did Mace Hughes, was it harder to do like the more energetic kind of parts or the more serious kind of?
No, I really like characters that have range, you know, because most human beings have range. A lot of times people ask me, like I got on Facebook, somebody asked me, does it bother you that the badass character Bardock that you play, you know, gets so little screen time, whereas Krillin, who gets beat up all the time, gets all the screen time? And I'm like, no, you know, because while I do like doing Bardock, he's on one level, almost always angry, you know? And Krillin can go, "Oh, I love you, oh my God." And Mace Hughes can be deadly serious. And then, "Oh my God, look at these pictures of my daughter Alicia." I mean, those are much more fun to do, you know. Probably in time for another question. You with the sword, or staff.
You know what transition from voice acting into directing?
I was driving a Dragon Ball Z Hummer. Serious. The people who made the card game, the Dragon Ball Z card game, was a company called Score Entertainment. And they would drive this Dragon Ball Z Hummer around the country. And this was when the first Hummer came out, and nobody knew what that was, right? So they were kind of freaked out by it. It was really cool. And they would take it to all the conventions. Well, people at the conventions asked us, "Do you guys drive the Hummer, the actors?" And we're like, "No, you know, you have somebody do that." And I thought, "Ooh, that would be cool." So I talked to Score Entertainment, and I said, "Hey, I'd be willing to drive that around the country in a tour." And they said, "Okay." So they set up a Krillin Battle to the Max tour. And so I went around the whole country, went around this area a lot, and played kids the game. And if they could beat me, they got a prize. And at first, that was really easy to do. By the end of the tour, I was so good at that game, I had to cheat on myself so that people could win prizes. So, and at the time, I just moved from LA to do this tour, and I was in LA drawing the comic book Elf Quest. And Chris Sabat called me and he said, "Hey, your tour's almost over. Are you going to move back to LA?" I said, "I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do." And he goes, "Well, if you move back to Dallas, I've got a part for you." And it was Lupin the Third. And so I did the first movie, and he goes, "Man, you really seem to know this show and this character." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Have you ever directed before?" And I said, "Well, I've directed plays, you know." And he said, "Well, would you like to try, the next movie?" And that was sort of a test for me to see if I could do it. So I did the next movie, and they liked what I did, and so they kept giving me more and more movies, and that's how I got into directing. You can do that or just sleep with Chris Sabat. Either way, one or the others will get you the job if you're any good at either. Okay, let's see what time we got. Okay. Anybody have a quick question? In the back. As Maze Hughes? That bitch. Okay, guys, thank you so much for showing up. If you have something for me to sign, just come over here, and like I said, you can get one of my comics if you like, and they're $5.